We'll get her done here in a little bit. My lesson today will be in Matthew chapter 5, starting in verse 21. But before I begin this lesson, it has to do with a whole lot about the Ten Commandments. Now, I know the Ten Commandments, we're not under the Ten Commandments. This is the present age. Jesus said, I didn't come to destroy them, but to fulfill it. But still, some of the principles and some of the thoughts in the words that God left us here in the Ten Commandments is carried over into the New Testament. And let me just talk to you a few minutes here about the Ten Commandments. Go, if you want to turn to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Jim, am I on? Milam? Okay. I don't even tell me to turn on the mic. Okay. All right, the Ten Commandments. Let's skip down to verse 12. It says, honor thy father and thy mother, and the days may be long in the land which Jehovah thy God give thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Now, these are just some of the things that was passed on to the children of Israel here by Moses and the Word of God here. And it's also passed on to us some of the same principles in the New Testament. If you will, look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 21. Now, most of us are old enough to remember Paul Harvey. He always told you the rest of the story. And that's kind of what Jesus does today. He makes a statement, then he says, but now I say. And since we're on Paul Harvey just a minute, I want to read you a prayer that he prayed years ago. And I think it's so very appropriate for the things that we do today in the times we're seeing. He says, Heavenly Father, we come before you today and ask your forgiveness and seek your directions and guidance. We know your word says, woe unto those who call evil good, but is exactly what we have done. We have lost our spiritual equilibrium and reversed our values. We have rewarded laziness and called it welfare. We have killed our unborn and called it choice. We have shot abortionists and called it justifiable. We have neglected to discipline our children and called it building self-esteem. We have abused power and called it politics. We have coveted our neighbor's possessions and called it ambition. We have polluted the air with profanity and pornography and called it freedom of expression. We have ridiculed the time-honored values of our forefathers and called it enlightenment. Search us, O God, and know our hearts today. Cleanse us from every sin and set us free. Amen. That's a lesson that Paul Harvey spoke before. I think he was meeting with a bunch of the congressmen at the time. Can you not see where we are today, the things that he talked about several years ago? And just as we look at the word here in verse 21, chapter 5 in Matthew, says, ye have heard that it was said them of old times, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that every one who is angry with his brother shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council, and whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. Now the word Raca here is a Hebrew expression contempt. And when they say that he's a fool, another Hebrew expression is an expression of condemnation. They're condemning somebody when you call him a fool. And we say, well, now what does that have to do with thou shalt not kill? There's more than one way to kill a person than to take his life. You can utterly destroy a person with one little thing that we all possess, is a tongue. James has a whole lot to say about this in James chapter 3. It says that it's a poison. The tongue is poisonous, and it destroys. And we can hurt somebody. We can kill their spirit. You can talk to children, and you can scold them and tell them that they're not worth anything. You can kill their self-esteem. You can utterly destroy people who are trying to do good by condemning them. And maybe everything that they say and do is not exactly as we would have it to be, but we don't have to destroy them, because it tells us we're to grow. And when we grow in the grace and knowledge of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that's 2 Peter chapter 3:18. We need to let people grow and not destroy them. In verse 23 there it says, If therefore thou art offering a gift at an altar, and there remembers that thy brother has aught against thee, leave the gift before the altar and go away. And first be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, while thou art with him, in the way lest happen thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou have paid the last farthing. We need to take in consideration of just exactly how we have taken it on our own to kill a person other than to take his life. And we need to take in consideration how we have destroyed that person. And we need to make sure that we're not guilty of this. We can go to that brother and we can reconcile things with him. And I was always taught one time that you solve a problem closest to its source. If you let it spread and let it get out of hand, it's harder to solve it. It's harder to deal with it. And if you let it get to the point that he says here to the judge, and the judge turn it over to the officer, and the officer puts you in prison, then you're not going to get out of prison until you've paid the full price. So we don't need to let things get too far out of hand. Let us look at what Jesus has to say here. In verse 27 it says, Ye have heard that it was said, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that every one that looketh upon a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye causeth thee to stumble, pluck it out, and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, then thy whole body be cast into hell. And if thy right hand causeth thee to stumble, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not the whole body go to hell. Now we're humans. God created each one of us as human beings. We have human tendencies. We have human thoughts. But I want to tell you right quick, the man here, when he says, everyone that looketh upon a woman with lust after her has committed adultery with her, always in the heart, this blame does not lie totally on the man. The Bible tells us over in 1 Timothy chapter 2 that a woman is to adorn herself in apparel that's appropriate for a Christian. You can cause this to happen by the way you present yourself. We are to present ourselves as Christians. Adorn yourself in the proper attire. Do not be provocative. Then this temptation will not be so prevalent with man. But man is to watch himself and not to lust after a person. And we're to watch our eyes, watch our hands. If they offend us, then we're to do something about it. I don't think he literally meant for us to pluck out an eye or cut off a hand. But he is telling us here that we're to watch our eyes and to watch our hands and not to let them defile us. In verse 31, it says, for it was said also, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writ of divorcement. But I say unto you that every one that putteth away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, maketh her an adulteress, and whosoever shall marry her when she is put away, committeth adultery. Now this is in our world today. You can twist this just any way you want to. And but I look back in what Moses had to say over in Matthew chapter 19. It says, in the beginning it was not so. With God it was not so that we're to do this. If a person would try harder to put a marriage back together than he does to put it under, it would be a lot better off. The Bible deals with this several ways. Chapter 19, he deals with it, and here in Matthew chapter 5, he deals with it. He also deals with it in the book of Luke and also in the book of Mark. And we need to look at what God has to say and not try to fix this problem ourselves. In verse 33, it says, again, ye have heard it, that it was said unto them of old times, thou shalt not forswear thyself, and shalt not perform unto the Lord of thine oath. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven or by the throne of God, nor earth, nor the footstools of his feet, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shall thou swear by thy head, nor cast not to make one, thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your speech be yea, yea, and nay, nay, and whatsoever more than these is of the evil one. And James tells us, if you flee from the devil, he'll flee from you. We're not to forswear ourselves. We should be of a character as a Christian to be able to, when somebody hears something we say, not doubt it. The old saying is, if a man tells you that a rooster dips snuff, if you look under his wing, you'll find a snuff box. That should be, when a man talks, let his yeas be yea and his nays nay. And we shouldn't forswear. We don't have to swear. When you're telling somebody, say, so help me God. That's wrong. We're on a very, very thin line here of taking the Lord's name in vain. It's easy to do. A lot of people, we hear it every day. You hear it on television, you hear it, people will say words that they're taking the Lord's name in vain. And they say, oh, good heavens. Yes, heaven is good. But you're using it in a wrong term. You'll say, oh, my God. That's wrong. It's the how I want to say this. It's the way you say it. It's how it comes out of your mouth. It makes it wrong. We're to not swear at all, neither by heaven nor by the throne of God. Like I said, let your yeas be yea and your nays be nay. And people, when you're talking to them and everything, you'd say, that man is an honest man. I believe what he says. He stands for the truth. And as Christians, we're supposed to be the ones that people can look up to, the ones that can tell us things, and we believe it. That we have no reason to falsely swear to someone. If we do, it's not us. It's the evil one. It's the devil. Is the comedian said, the devil made me do it. But we need to look at ourselves very closely and to see how other people look at us. How do they think of us? Do they think of us as being a person that's truthful, one that's honest, and it says you can't change, you can't make one hair white or black. Neither shall thou swear by your head. And we can't change anything. So let's examine ourselves when we're talking to somebody and try not to swear. Of course, we're all human beings. We hear this daily. We may be in the pattern of using swear words, and we need to carefully examine ourselves. And it's like Jim said a while ago in his in the Bible class. Have you noticed the change when you're in somebody's presence? They change. I've noticed that. In fact, I used to do it. I used to join in with the crowd, and all of a sudden you look up and there's somebody standing there that's not part of the crowd, and you want to kind of tone yourself down a little bit and not be like-minded. You want to be different like they are, but you have already let your mouth get you in trouble. In verse 38, it says, ye have heard that it's said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, resist him that is evil, but whosoever smiteth thee on the right cheek, turn also the other. And if a man would go to law with you to take away thy coat, let him also have your cloak. And whosoever shall compel thee to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee turn not away. You know, a lot of people in this day and time and the times we're living in, they believe in this old eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It's a sad thing. And that we live in a world like this. You see this day and time, there's not a whole lot of brotherly love. There's not a whole lot of respect. People will kill you for just passing them on the highway. And if you pull back in front of them, they think too close. Or if you're driving too slow and make them have to slow down. Or just anything, you know, if you get their parking place. They have circled around Walmart parking lot 3 or 4 times to get this one particular spot, and all of a sudden you pull into it before they get there. You may be in trouble. And it shouldn't be that way. We need to resist the evil one, but not to the point that you would make him to the point that he would take your life or do you bodily harm. If he strikes you on the cheek, then just turn the other one. That's a hard thing to do, you know. When somebody says something ugly toward you, our first impression is to counteract. And a lot of people's actions is their reaction. And we shouldn't react. We should give some thought to what's going on and to what's been said and to remember who we are. We're supposed to, as Jim said a while ago, and we look back over here, you're the salt of the earth, you're the light of the world. And let people so see your light shine. One of the verses here, it tells you that people can see your good works. If they can't see your good works, then as far as they're concerned, you're no better than the rest of the world. And we're so to let our light shine before men. And that don't mean that we have to just be give in to everybody that wants to take advantage of you. We need to guard against some things. Don't put yourself in a position to where you're going to have to do that. We can foresee a lot of things coming on and escape from it by walking away. You can turn your back and walk the other way rather than to walk head on into a problem that can't be solved by somebody that believes in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. In verse 43, it says, "Ye have heard it, that it was said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies and pray for them that persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise, he makes his sun to rise on the evil and the good. He sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if ye love them that love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans do the same? And if you salute your brethren only, what do you more than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? Yet therefore shall be ye therefore shall be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect." And this is something that I look at love our neighbor and not hate our enemy. It's hard to do that. That's something that says that to love your enemy and pray for them, that pray for ones that persecute you. That's hard to do. When somebody does you wrong, that you want to think the best for them, or to not think evil of them, but to pray for them. And prayer is there should be very prevalent in our lives as Christians. And we should know when to talk to the Father about certain things. And but just remember, it's His will to be done, not ours. There's some things are going to happen to us that should happen to us for our own benefit, and it kind of take us down a notch, when we get to thinking more highly of ourselves than we ought. Some things may happen to us to make us humble ourselves. And we need to take this in mind. God He gives to the just and the unjust. He makes it rain onto the good and the rain on the evil. And we're going to have to learn to accept this, that God is a just God. He's patient. He don't want that anyone should be lost. And by showing goodness in everything, maybe people will just look at themselves and say, well, I'd like to change. I'd like to be more like a Christian. I'd like to be more Christ-like and all. But anyway, one of the great commandments that the young man asked Jesus, or not the young man, a lawyer asked Jesus, well, what is the greatest commandment? And he said, love your Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. And the second was to love your neighbor as yourself. And the whole law hangs on these two statements. And these are some of the things that we have to learn to incorporate in our life as Christians, and to make them part of our life, part of our daily life. It's not easy to be a Christian. If you'll turn over to the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4. Starting in verse 12, it says, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials among you, which cometh upon you to prove you, as though a strange thing happens unto you. But inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's suffering, rejoice that at the revelation of his glory also ye may rejoice with exceeding joy. If ye are reproached for the name of Christ, blessed are you, because the Spirit of glory and the Spirit of God resteth upon you. For let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or an evildoer or a meddler in other men's matters. But if a man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in his name. It's not like I said, it's not easy to be a Christian. And we have to work at it. We have to work at it daily. And we have to look into God's Word. God has given us this Word as a guidance and a direction. And we need to look in this Word and to so develop our lives that we will be doing everything we know how to be pleasing unto our Lord. If there's any among you this morning that have not become a Christian and would like to be baptized for the remission of your sins, we're going to have an invitation song here in just a minute. You'll have the opportunity to come and to give your life to Jesus and to be baptized for the remission of your sins. Or if there's any that have not have let their life go astray and has not acted as a Christian should and need forgiveness, we stand ready to help you in any way that we can. And we would ask you, as we offer the invitation here now, the invitation song, I forgot to look, but anyway, it's on the board here. If you would like to respond as we stand and come and sing, let us do so now.